this week's edition of CGConnect, brought to you by Clifford, Gouldson lawyers. This week I thought I'd talk with you about export. Certainly over the last decade, our business has seen an increasing level of inquiry about advice in relation to export opportunities. Whether that be exporting goods or exporting services, we've increasingly been providing advice to our clients around contracts and commercial transactions, exporting products or services overseas. A lot of our clients put their toe in the water and see how it goes, and then gradually over time build their export business. From our perspective, there are a few key messages or key takeaways that we've discovered so far. First of all, you certainly need to pick your market. It's important you do the research on the ground in the country into which you're looking to export to make sure you understand what the opportunities are, what the demand is, what the competition is, and what barriers to entry there might be. Secondly, you need to think about the legal structure that you're going to use for that export opportunity. Ideally, you should keep that export opportunity in a separate legal entity, so you're quarantining risk. You don't want to expose your domestic business to the risks that might come from being involved in an export business. The risks are very different. Thirdly, you need to make sure you've got the right resources in terms of staffing to pursue the opportunity. Our experience has been that when you throw that role to an existing domestic employee or personnel, it's really hard for them to gain the time to properly pursue the export opportunities. Better to take the time, wait for you to be able to afford to fund a new position and really dedicate that person to, or persons, to the export opportunity and invest in it for the longer term. You also need to be aware that it can take some time. It's very rare in our experience that there's an instant overnight success story. Success takes time and you need to build that over time. There are a lot of legal issues that you need to deal with when it comes to transacting overseas, whether that be around currency risk, whether that be around payment terms, interest, how you might enforce your rights, in which jurisdiction, which courts, where, whether or not you involve commercial arbitration or arbitration. And there's also a lot of things you need to be cautious about in relation to your brand and intellectual property rights, depending on the country into which you're exporting. Sometimes your brand domestically won't convert to a successful brand opportunity overseas. Once you convert the English word into the foreign country's language, it may be offensive, for example. And you need to make those inquiries at the beginning before you spend money on a brand that you then need to ditch because it's not going to fly in that country. So whether or not you need some advice in the structure, setting up that export business, whether you need some advice liaising with government in relation to any grants that might be available, or whether you need contract advice, transacting overseas, or dispute resolution and litigation advice, Clifford Gouldson Lawyers is here to help. Until we speak again, all the best to you, your business, and your family. Bye-bye.